سيدنا ومولانا أبا القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. Shahr Ramadan is not exclusively for those who fast. It is for everyone. There are some who cannot fast. They're too old, they're sick, for example, they're traveling. But the blessings of Shahr Ramadan are for everyone. When you look at the tradition that it talks about that in this month, your prayers are heard. So make sure that the du'as you do are very sincere and you repetitively make dua for us, yourselves, for the international affairs. The actions in this month are accepted. Iftar, for example, is one of the good actions in this month. We learn that not only is religion a practice that I do by myself, that when you give iftar and you come here together and we break fast together, you're learning that we grow as a community, that we are brothers and sisters. And it really is a nice scene when we come together and, alhamdulillah, break our fast. And many times non-Muslims, when they come and they see the sufra and the iftar of the Muslims, they get very impressed that we have such a beautiful part of deen and religion. And this shows that Islam is a very complete religion. It's social as well as individual. Tonight we're going to be talking about Surah al-Maoun. And we're going through, in reverse order, the small surahs of the Holy Quran. This surah will start from Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of Allah, the All-Merciful, the Ever-Merciful. This surah was not very clear. Is it from Mecca or Medina? Some say Mecca, some say Medina. But these 7 verses have a great message for us. The first ayah after Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is this: أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ. Have you seen the one who denies the retribution? Ad-Din is usually known as al-Jaza, the day of recompense, the day that we have to have accountability. Because belief in Ma'ad, in the hereafter, completes our faith in God, meaning that you can believe in God and say, okay, but there's no hereafter, then what is going to make me accountable? Why should I be careful for what I do? Many times some of my friends have traveled around the world to spread Islam, and in some of the Latin American countries they say that if people believe in God, for example, there, it is harder for them to believe in the hereafter. They question the hereafter even more than the belief of God. So why would somebody reject how Quran says, have you seen those? Have you seen the one who denies the retribution? Is this, for example, the tradition Abu Jahl, for example, as we talk about Tabbat Yada Abi Lahab? Is this like, for example, Abu Jahl or the likes of him? What causes someone to deny the Day of Judgment? One issue is that human beings love to be free. They love to do whatever they want to. If you say, believe in Allah who created you, yes, I will. But if he says, be careful because that same creator will judge you and every action you do in atom's weight will be seen. Now he's like, whoa, that's difficult. You mean everything I do, I have to answer for it? Now that's difficult. Now I don't like that, so I do not want to believe in it. So let's talk about some of the factors that cause someone to believe or disbelieve in the hereafter. One of them, we can divide it into this way, is the intellect. The first reason people disbelieve in the hereafter is because of the intellect. They do not have enough knowledge. One is, from this section, is ignorance. Nobody came to them to explain to them about the hereafter. Or they were with a group of people and those individuals denied the hereafter and they also denied the hereafter. This section we're going to talk about is still better than the second section. So a lot of people do not know, a lot of people didn't think about it. if you look at probably when you go to work, you go to school, a lot of your co-workers, a lot of people you study with, and you talk about death to them, yes, it is something that it is a reality, but they really don't think much about the accountability part, like what is going to happen to that person. We have, some religions, and this is the majority religion in this country, that really doesn't believe in accountability, that they believe in salvation, that once you just believe, for example, in this, being or Trinity or whatever, just the fact you believe in this, that's fine, you will be saved, that's salvation. But in Islam, is belief enough for us to be saved? No, it is not. That is why over and over from the verses of Quran, you have Iman and Amal Salih, belief and good action, belief and good action, belief and good action. So the first reason why people disbelieve is because of ignorance, they didn't think about it. And this is where me and you, brothers and sisters, this is our role, to inform them, because they are good. Generally people are good. They have been misinformed, they have forgotten. Tell them about the hereafter, tell them about the recompense, does it make sense? Tell them about some of the philosophical and theological proofs that we have that the hereafter is a reality. One of those proofs, for example, that a lot of people like is the justice of God. The proof through justice. You ask him, do you believe in God? He says, yes. Do you believe in a just God? They say, yes. Well, why is there injustice in this world and people die and nothing happens to them and they dhulm and they live, for a long time, or they die and nothing ever happens to them? There must be, if you believe in a just God, there must be at the same time a hereafter, another world where that mazlum is made up to. He saw dhulm, he saw oppression, something is made up to him, and that dhalim is punished. It's not fair. If both the killer and for example, the maqtul and the murdered, if both of them, for example, are in the same place in the hereafter, is that fair? If, for example, the oppressor, he lives in a way that, when you look at him, he lives in a way that he oppresses everyone, lives the best of life. Would God still be just if that oppressor lives the best life and there's no hereafter, for example? There's that tradition, Hadith Qudsi, فَإِن لَمْ أَنْتَقِمْ أَنَا الظَّالِمْ فَأَنَا الظَّالِمْ. Narrated that Allah has said, that if I do not seek justice from the oppressor, then I myself, Allah, will be the oppressor. So one of the strong philosophical proofs, if someone asks you, why do you believe in the hereafter and the day of judgment? Say, or else, according to my logic, according to my reasoning, God will not be just. And I believe in a just God. So there must be another world that is made up to. The second is that it doesn't make sense for us to live 70 years, 60 years, in order to do what? At the end, just reach annihilation? Just to reach nothing? Or there must be another world where we can reach our kamal and perfection. There must be another world that there is a purpose, there is wisdom behind it. That this world would build the hereafter. And if I just live for 50 years, 70 years, 100 years, and poof, I'm gone, it doesn't make sense. God wouldn't do something like that because He is wise. He has wisdom. Why would He create a test for me, a life for me, and then I'm in annihilation? There's no step afterwards. Then what happens? Doesn't make sense. And that, Allah is far from that. So that's Burhanul Hikmah. The first one was Burhanul Idala, for example, Burhanul Adl. From the justice of God, I prove the hereafter. The second is that if I believe in a wise God, He doesn't do foolish things. And we believe if just to be created and then annihilated, that would be foolish. For what? All this pain and suffering, and I cannot reap. It's like, for example, just a vicious cycle of needs. I am created, for example, like my car. I go to the gas station, I fill up my car, And then they ask me, where are you going to? I say, I'm going to another gas station to fill up my car. I'm going to another gas station to fill up my car. Just a vicious cycle of needs. That would just be life. I'm just eating to remove a need, breathing to remove a need. As if I'm just going to the gas station over and over to remove a need. Does this make sense that life would just be just going to the gas station, for example? God is far from this. Therefore, there must be something else. You must need this to go somewhere. It's as if you have a car, and that car is built, for example, to go somewhere. But that car is always parked in the garage. Human beings have this potential. And then we only limit it, for example, just for this hayat dunya. So the second proof is the proof of God's wisdom, that God would not, for my logic, is not wise unless there is another life for me. And then there's another life that would be forever, that I could reap the benefits of this world and all the things that I did, I could reap the benefits. So the first stage, why people deny the hereafter, is because of intelligence, because of ignorance. They do not think. How many here have come across words like tadabbur in the Quran, or ta'aqqul in the Quran? To think, to contemplate, or being of the ulil albab, those who think, for example. Quran tells us over and over to think, to reflect, to do tafakkur, for example. So unless someone does this, then they will come and live life, and they'll live life in a way they think this is it. And they'll be so busy with shopping, so busy with work, so busy with family, that they forget. Then death approaches them. Oh, there's another world. There's another. And Shahr Ramadan is one of those months to remember the hereafter. Soon you're going to be reciting the dua al-Julshan al-Kabir. And in it, there's different multiple names of Allah. You mentioned the different attributes of Allah over and over. And then you say, Al-Ghawth, Al-Ghawth, Khalisna min an-nari ya Rab. You say, I seek help from you, Allah. Give me salvation give us salvation from the fire, Allah. So over and over you see Islamic instructions is to wake us up. Pay attention that there is an abad, an eternity in front of you. And we will be judged. If you look over the Quran, maybe some say 1/3 of the verses of Quran are about the hereafter. Why? Because insan forgets. So it is our job to cause our family members, our friends, those we know, to remember the hereafter. So that is the first thing, is forgetting and having ignorance about the hereafter, which leads to someone to do takdeeb, to deny the hereafter. The other is deception. Deception means being deceived by partial truths. Many people deceive each other online, for example, on social media, or books that are written. The materialist tries to deceive and say there's nothing. It's fake. These things that have been said by all these religious people from the church, from the masjids, from the synagogues, wherever, at the temples, all these religious people, all these things, they've been telling you a lie. Why? Because it's deception. But then we see the message of all the prophets, from Prophet Adam to Prophet Nuh to Prophet Ibrahim to Prophet Musa to Prophet Isa to our Prophet, Prophet Muhammad. That they all warned about the hereafter. They warned about the hereafter. There's one of the scholars by the name of Sheikh Ja'far al-Shushtari, gave very good speeches and lectures in Tehran. Maybe lived 70, 80 years. Some of his books today are translated in English. He was really good at the pulpit. And that at that time, thousands or maybe tens of thousands of people would attend. And they said even sometimes the Shah of Iran, the earlier 70, 80, 100 years old Shah, he would attend the lectures of Sheikh Ja'far al-Shushtari. They say once during his lecture, imagine if I did this right now. Let's give the example of the kitchen because they're making lots of noise tonight. Let's say the kitchen is on fire, for example. The kitchen's on fire. he gave that example. He says something's on fire, for example. Something's on fire. And the people, these thousands of people or whatever, they started running. They started running around because when you say fire, it's dangerous. And then he says, sit down. After they're running around, you scared them, for example, sit down. Maybe the example I'll give tonight is maybe there's a mouse or something in the sisters section. There's a mouse. Everyone would run away, for example. I don't know for the brothers, what scares the brothers. There's a big bill, there's an invoice or something. Brothers would run away, for example. But then he says, listen, I, in a way, my name is Ja'far, his name was Ja'far. He said, I'm Ja'far Kadha, for example. I'm lying to you. I warned you about fire, and everyone started running. He says, 124,000 prophets warned you of the fire, and none of you are running. None of you are moving. Me, Ja'far, just one person says, fire, you run. But what about 124,000 prophets who told you about the fire? So this is the second part, is deception. People have been trying to deceive and change the word of the prophets. They came about that God is one, and that the day of judgment is real. And today, as we say, Maliki Yawmiddin. That God is the owner of the day of judgment. Another factor is superstition. There are religions that have superstitious or false beliefs. For example, one of them, reincarnation, that I'll be dead and I'll come back to this world. Then I'll die, I'll come as a frog. I'll die, I'll come, but not that's a bad example for me. I'll come back then as a peacock, for example, a nice animal at least. Maybe someone else, in the other sense, that they'll come back as a frog. But regardless, that you come back over and over as a cycle in this world, reincarnation. And it doesn't mean that they have a weakened intellect, because we say that it's God's justice. Is God's justice served by coming to this world? Or must there be another world that is different than this world that can really be punishment or reward? Just coming back to this world, for someone like Ali ibn Abi Talib, Imam Ali alayhi salam, with all the worship, please recite salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala. Well, all the worship and sincerity and sacrifice he did, is it enough for him, God forbid, just to come back again to this world? And then to come back again to this world cannot be the reward, because it is limited. It cannot. Whatever you want to have a reward in this world, you eat one, you're really hungry, you like food, for example, eat one, then the second doesn't taste as good anymore. The third, you get tired. There's no perfect benefit here and reward. Every reward in this world is limited. You like fish, the fish has bones, the fish has scales, for example. Everything you like, there's something to it. There's no something perfect for you that heaven has. That reward that Imam Ali alayhi salam deserves is only in heaven, that world. So therefore, this is superstition, or these are false beliefs that causes someone to believe, I'm going to be reincarnated. For what? This world cannot punish completely and cannot reward completely. The next thing that causes someone to deny is the will. That was the mind. The other is the will, the heart. Some do not want to believe, even if it makes sense. You come and bring them the strongest proofs. At the end, says, no, I don't want to. I don't want to believe. And that is because love of this world. If I believe, it means I have to change. It means I have to become a Muslim. If I am a sister, I believe I have to have hijab. I have to, for example, dress this way. If I believe, that means that I cannot eat, for example, consume alcohol, consume pork. And people came to Rasulullah, it is said. They said, we have a good religion, we'll become Muslim. Just two things make it halal, the Christians. Two things, alcohol and pork. Make it halal, we'll become Muslim. And the Prophet cannot make it halal. So therefore, they didn't become Muslim. Because of the will. Because I love this life. I'm comfortable with this type of life. I cannot take away and sacrifice. Cannot change. Therefore, you say the same instructions to two different people. One will believe and one won't. Why? Because of the heart, the will. or because of pleasure, ease, avoidance of pain. I don't want to go through something hard. My whole family, for example, they're not Muslim. Do you know what they would do to me if I became Muslim? Do you know my job, for example, how could I be Muslim? And, for example, my boss, he wouldn't like it. So therefore, we see that the will is also another factor that causes someone to want to believe or not. Either it is in God, in the Day of Judgment, in Islam, all of it. And we understand from this statement that deen is not only intellectual, it's very spiritual. And that heart has to be protected and preserved. Because God says in the Quran, I open the heart. He opens the heart to Islam. And God is the one who closes it too. Brothers and sisters, the fact that you are here, not because it's my speech, that you're at the masjid, Shahr Ramadan, in the West. You could be anywhere. You could be anywhere. It's America, you're free to do whatever you want. But He has opened your chest so that when you hear Quran, you like it. When you hear hadith, you like it. You like deen. Why? Sometimes you think, well, why do I like it? Some people, they hate it. They don't like it. Why? Because Allah has opened your chest to Islam. Allah has made you like it. Allah has closed the other ones, their chest to Islam. Why does He do it? For a reason. How He mentions in the Quran that God does not guide the zalimeen. God does not guide those who oppress. That when you have a qalb salim, an intact heart, you protected your heart. You're careful not to do dhulm. You're careful with your respect to your parents, for example. You are good to others. Allah begins to give you what? Reward. And what is that reward? Himself. He says He deserves it. He deserves to talk to me. I want to hear Him. Let him be guided. Let him come to the masjid. Let him read the Quran. Let me take care of him. Then the other one, no, he's too harsh with the people. He oppressed too many people. His heart is solid. I do not want to hear from him. No, put him. So tonight we understand how grateful we have to be, because God forbid, what happens at the end of my life, this changes. And I lose interest. I don't want to come to masjid. I don't want to come to Quran, recite Quran anymore. We understand God chooses this based on our potential and based on our actions. And this has always been the seerah of the prophets, that not only did they say, you want to reach Allah, think, they would say, you want to reach Allah, act. Act and you'll reach yaqeen. Act, you'll reach certainty. Act, you'll become guided. Act and you reach the highest level. We have more to talk about this topic, but because we have to go through other verses of the Holy Quran, this was the first in this surah we have. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ara'ayta alladhi. Ra'a means to see or to know, for example, in Arabic. Have you seen, do you know the one who denies the recompense? This fa, according to Al-Mizan, says fa is a natija from, is a conclusion or an effect from this belief, from the first ayah. So number 2 is connected to verse 1. فَذَلِكَ الَّذِي يَدُعُ الْيَتِيمِ. For that is the one who drives away the orphan. So he's saying to drive away the orphan is connected to denying the hereafter. Because how could somebody deny an orphan if he believed in God and the Day of Judgment? If he believed that eating their rights, for example, is fire, why would someone consume fire on purpose? It means that if someone denies the hereafter, there's nothing for them. There's no accountability. Nobody is watching. They could do whatever they want. Have you ever heard of times in the US when either something very tragic happened or they thought it's the end of times? In this country, many times there were occurrences where people thought everything's going to end. It's a Day of Judgment, for example. It's the end of times. Something happened. They would go, some people, and sin more. Usually when they tell us, for example, you have 1 day to live. What would we do? Tawbah, istighfar, salat, qada, make up give our khums, be careful, we have 1 more day, be careful. But for that person who denies the hereafter and doesn't believe in it at all, he says, I'm here 1 more day. Let me have as much fun. I'm not going to be arrested. Nobody's going to stop me now. I have 1 more day to live. Let me do whatever I want. So you see the effect on control and how beautiful a society that is God-fearing and believes in the Day of Judgment, how beautiful that society can be. And how reckless a society that doesn't believe in God, doesn't believe in the Day of Judgment, they could do whatever they want to do as long as they are not caught by the police. They just fear the police. They don't fear Allah. They don't fear anything else. Police and law, that's it. So then when there's chaos, they take advantage. They do whatever they want. وَلَا يَحُضُّ عَلَىٰ طَعَامِ الْمِسْكِينِ, and do not encourage the feeding of the poor. This is what happens, according to this, when you do not believe in the hereafter. Because that person that believes in the hereafter is believing this world is a mazra'ah, is a farm. A farmer is busy planting and harvesting to collect. We're busy planting our good deeds to collect in the hereafter. فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ, and woe to those who pray. And this is one of the beautiful parts of Quran. You read it, wait, I thought those who pray are good. It says, woe to those who pray. Then it continues, الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ, but who are heedless of their prayer. This might mean to the time of prayer. This might also mean sahun, sahwa, to someone, for example, not establishing all the prayers. This could even mean someone who does not pay attention in their salat. Someone who is sahun, someone who's heedless. Someone like me, for example, that I'm supposed to be talking to Allah, but my mind is somewhere else. My mind is thinking, where did I put my car keys? My salat first unit is lost and found, for example. Where are the car keys? And the amazing thing is usually you find it in salat. That's the problem. It works. There's a nur and light that you think of it and it works because you're being distracted. So therefore, why, and this will be ending with this, why are we heedless in salat? Why is it when we see Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad, say Maliki Yawmiddin, Maliki Yawm, we repeat Maliki Yawmiddin so much, they say in the tradition as if he was about to pass away and die when he would say this. And I'm saying Maliki Yawmiddin, Maliki Yawmiddin, what's for iftar, for example, what's for, and that's the problem. We do our salat. I say, I cannot do a good salat because I'm hungry. God, give me my iftar, I'll do such a good salat. I do this iftar, I come, oh, I'm too full. I cannot do sujood. It's dangerous. I ate too much, for example. This is our state. Either we're hungry, we can't pay attention, or, for example, we're too full, we can't pay attention. The poet says, when you're young, it's a Persian poetry, when you're young, you're intoxicated. When you're young, you're intoxicated, too much lower desires, too much shahwa, too many things are exciting. You're not thinking of God and religion, you're young. You want to have fun. It says, but when you're old, you're too weak, you're too feeble. You don't want to wake up and you can't, your body broke down. Then the poet says, then when will you worship God? When you're young, you're intoxicated. When you're old, you don't have energy, you're too frail. Then when are you a worshipper of God? Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam mentions in Dua Abu Hamza, another dua we have in Shahr Ramadan. If you have time or something, you can listen to parts of it or a little bit. It's very beautiful. This Abu Hamza Thamari is a very great companion of Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam. And the way that they met each other itself is interesting. In Masjid al-Kufa, for example, he meets him and asks the Imam, he didn't know who he was because Imam Zain al-Abidin was so oppressed and madloom that one of his trips, for example, that he takes to the Atabat, that area, he meets up with him and he doesn't even know that is his Imam. Then Abu Hamza asks him a question and the Imam says, come with me, come. He knows who he is, come with me, let me show you, for example, where Imam Ali alayhi salam is buried. Let me show you. He says, how do you know? Nobody knows where Ali ibn Abi Talib is buried. I don't know if you know this or not, many years Imam Ali's grave was hidden. Until the time of Imam as-Sadiq, it was hidden. But Imam Zain al-Abidin shows Abu Hamza, come, and I'll show you where it's buried. So therefore, Abu Hamza was a confidant, one of the good companions, and later on learns from Imam Bagha alayhi salam, and he narrates this dua that today we call it because of the narrators, Abu Hamza Thamali, we call it because of him. In this dua, which is a very beautiful dua, it gives us how some of our scholars say, why do we have sahwa in our salat? Why are we sahun? Why are we sahun? Why do we not pay attention? Even if you try, brothers and sisters, even if you try to pay attention, you say, right now, I'm going to do the last salat, I'm going to live, the mawadda, I'm going to do the salat that I'm going to pass away and say goodbye to everyone. You say, Allahu Akbar, you focus, Allahu Akbar, Bismillah ar-Rahman. Okay, maybe one verse you're there, two verse you're, verse 3, 4, you're back. You forget again. Because salat, it is about those conditions before salat. It is about the conditions to change ourselves before we enter. And this is from the dua of Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam. We can understand this. It says here in the dua, here, Allahumma inni kullama qult qad tahayya'tu wa taba'tu wa ta'abba'tu. Oh Allah, each time I decide to prepare and ready myself for offering prayers, وَقُمْتُ لِلصَّلَاةِ بَيْنَ يَدَيْكَ وَنَاجَيْتُكَ أَلْقَيْتَ عَلَيَّ النُّعَاسِ. Every time I come to pray, I see you throw me in slumber. I come to do salat, you throw me in nu'as. I'm in slumber, I'm not paying attention anymore. Maybe this Shahr Ramadan will be that Shahr Ramadan we get out of this state. إِذَا أَنَا صَلَّيْتُ. When I pray, I'm in nu'as. Then it continues, وَصَلَّبْتَنِي مُنَاجَاتَكَ إِذَا أَنَا نَاجَيْتُ. And you deprive me of conversing with you confidentially wherever I try so. That munajat you take away from me. So how can I have munajat? How can I speak and whisper and talk to God? Cry in salat. Pay attention in salat. How can I? I'm telling myself. He says there's some reasons. For example, what is wrong with me? Mali. What is wrong with me? The dua says. He gives a few, the scholars say a few reasons why we're in nu'as. Why we're in sahu. Why? He says one of them is لَعَلَّكَ رَأَيْتَنِي مُسْتَخِفًا بِحَقِّكَ فَأَقْصَيْتَنِي. Maybe perhaps you have noticed that I belittled the duties that you have made incumbent upon me, and thus you have set me aside. Maybe I made your wajibat weak, and I didn't perform it. And I did haram, so you put me aside. My salat is a weak salat. My salat is one I don't pay attention to. Or it says, أَوْ لَعَلَّكَ رَأَيْتَنِي مُعْرِضًا عَنْكَ. Or you saw that I was turning away from you. أَوْ لَعَلَّكَ وَجَدْتَنِي فِي مَقَامِ الْكَاذِبِينَ. You saw me that I was in the position of the liars. أَوْ لَعَلَّكَ رَأَيْتَنِي غَيْرَ شَاكِرٍ. Maybe you saw that I wasn't appreciative of your ni'mah and blessing. And therefore, for haramtani, and you have deprived me. So brothers and sisters, you see, this is a relationship about what I do and what type of salat and worship I gain and what type of connection I have. That the more you pay attention to the rights of Allah, the more you're appreciative of His blessings, the more He will give, the more He gives to you. And what does He give? The best thing Himself. Or it says, وَلَعَلَّكَ فَقَدْتَنِي مِنْ مَجْلِسِ الْعُلَمَاءِ. Or maybe you did not see me in the gatherings of the ulama and scholars. I wasn't there. Every time someone invited me to the house, there I would go. Every time they said to go to the park, go to this entertainment area, go. But when they say come to masjid, for example, no, I don't feel like it, I don't want to go. And since I didn't go to the gathering of the scholars, therefore you have set me aside. Majlis al-ulama فَخَذَلْتَنِي. You have brought me down. وَلَعَلَّكَ رَأَيْتَنِي فِي الْغَافِلِينَ. You have seen me among the ghafilin. My friends were not of those of the masjid. My friends were ghafil. My friends were neglectful. They have forgotten and I have forgotten as well. أو رأيتني آلف مجالس البطالين. Maybe I was in with the majlis of those that did batil and voidness. أو لعلك لم تحب أن تسمع دعائي. Or maybe you don't like to hear my prayer. So one of the reasons that we are weak in salat, that we don't pay attention, is because of our behavior before salat. And until we fix that, we won't have a good salat. And if you are blessed with having a good salat, one that you really think of Allah, it will be the sweetest thing ever. And you will say, Alhamdulillah, that Allah, give me more of this. This was great. This was fantastic. I want more. Because it is a feeling that is uncomparable with any other feeling in this world. That salat that you have. Let's change the way that we look at prayer. So therefore, let's continue with this surah. فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ. So woe to those who pray. الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ. Those who are heedless of their prayer. الَّذِينَ هُمْ يُرَاءُونَ. Those who show off their deeds. They do. Yura'un comes from riyah. They show off. When they come in front of people in worship, they have lots of energy. When they're by themselves alone, they don't feel like praying. They want to show off. وَيَمْنَعُونَ al-Maoun. The Quran usually chooses the title of the surah on a specific word. For example, retitle those. يَمْنَعُونَ al-Maoun. This is Surah al-Maoun. Why? Because Ma'un comes from aun. Ma'un comes from assistance. And those who withhold simple assistance. Ma'un could be Islamic tax, zakat, for example, any good deed. But they are the ones who do man'ul khair, for example. They stop and prevent others from doing assistance themselves or others possibly from assistance. الَّذِينَ هُمْ يُرَاءُونَ وَيَمْنَعُونَ الْمَاعُونَ. And they withhold simple assistance. So you see, all of this is related, rejecting Day of Judgment, to how we treat the orphan, how we do not encourage to give food to the poor, miskin, and how we do not pay attention in salat, therefore weaken our salat, we don't fulfill our duties, and how we show off, and how we do not give simple assistance. May Allah make us of those who have yaqeen in His hereafter. May Allah make us of those who have the salat of the khashi'een, inshallah, where our prayers are with khushu' and humility. May Allah make us of those who take care of the orphans, the miskin, inshallah. May Allah make of those who are sincere, not of those who show off. May Allah make us of those who give and do aun and help and assist others. We ask Allah, inshallah, to cure all the sick, those who have passed away, bless their souls, inshallah. Allah grant everyone's hawaj here, give them dunya and akhirah, inshallah. Help all of the madhlumeen, especially those that are being killed today in this time in Syria, inshallah. Help them, inshallah. Ya Allah, we ask you to make us of the companions of the Imam of the age. Give us his ma'rifah, understanding, and make us of his companions, and expedite his return with a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. افتتاح